So today we're going to talk a little bit about how to cope with stress of entrepreneurship, how we need positivity, and exactly what is toxic positivity on this episode of the Brand and Hustle Podcast. Catch you in a minute.
Welcome to the Brand and Hustle Podcast, the no fluff, no bull broadcast for busy entrepreneurs who need fast, effective business strategies. Get ready to build your business, your brand, and your bank account with Master Brand Coach Jay Stone.
So I was sitting on Clubhouse the other day, and there was an entire conversation dedicated to toxic positivity. And some people were saying, I just want, positivity in my life. I don't want to hear all that negative stuff. And there were some people saying, I am not an eternal optimist. I'm not even a pessimist. I'm a realist. And, I kind of felt that sentiment because that's certainly who I am. But I think that there has to be an ebb and flow among all of that in entrepreneurship. So let's just dig into the fact that entrepreneurship is stressful. I hear a lot of people who've worked in, corporate America. They come out, they become entrepreneurs, and they talk about it's more work than they've ever had. What they haven't talked about is the level of stress because there's so much more on the line, right? When you work for a 9-to-5 or a traditional job, then you know that a paycheck is coming because you're putting in the work. Even if you get laid off or you give a notice, for a few more weeks or a few more months, there's going to be something that is coming. With entrepreneurship, right? Until you get to a certain point, you don't know what's coming. You don't get vacation time. You don't get sick leave. You don't get paid time. Basically, everything that happens in entrepreneurship is based on what you create and how you create it. So even the consistency and stability, it comes over time based on what you create. Okay. So that being said, there's a whole nother level of stress, right? You have to worry about your quality of life. You have to worry about things like medical insurance, taking time off, making enough money to put aside money for savings, to take care of whatever your family or your children need, even starting to focus on how do you set up retirement, right? Wherein when you're in a traditional job, all of those structures are in place, right? They automatically can take money out for medical. They automatically take money out for your 401k or your retirement. There's certain time that's put aside for vacation. We have to create all that structure, okay, and generate the revenue. That being said, there is a lot more stress, okay? So it's important to know how to cope with those stressors. So here are a few things that I do to cope with stress. One is I have a really strong support system of other entrepreneurs who are really kind of in the same place in entrepreneurship that I am, meaning they've been in business, about 10 years or more. They're probably earning around the same amount because we tend to have the same struggles, right? Whether it's, growing a team or giving your team benefits or your own benefits or distributions. Those are things that, whatever level you're at, people at the same level tend to struggle with the same things. You have the same conversations, you have the same support, and somebody comes up with solutions that you all tend to take advantage of. So one is having people around you in the same place that are part of your peer group that really are open to sharing information and telling you how they manage their struggles. So that's one. Two, okay, you personally have to create boundaries between your business and your personal life. You have to practice self-care, right? Self-care doesn't mean just going to the hair salon or taking a day off, right? It means actually doing things that improve your quality of life. Okay. So that does mean going to your doctor's appointments, going to your dentist appointments. I know that I've been really, really guilty of not taking care of myself, and taking care of everything and everyone else. Okay. So self-care means just that, taking care of yourself. So that's your doctor's appointments, your dentist appointments, your mental health, right? If you need to go to therapy, if you need to exercise or take, meditation or yoga classes or dance classes, something that helps you feel better physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I'm going to tell you this, my sister-in-law, excuse me, my sister-in-law told me this probably 15 years ago, and it changed my life. She said, as entrepreneurs, we work harder, right? And we always say work hard, play hard, but we actually work harder, right? And so I actually take more vacations. So I take a vacation about every 3 months because that's about the time when I completely burn out. And I'm not talking about just the holiday 2 or 3 extra day of vacation. You know, when you're working 40 hours a week, that's fine. When you're working 60 hours a week, that's fine. As entrepreneurs, we're doing 60, 70, 80 hours a week, right? I know regularly I was doing 12 to 18 hour days consistently earlier in my business, right? So I burned out quicker. So every 3 months, I would take 7 to 10 days. Okay. Now, would I be completely off? Maybe I'll check some emails here and there. Maybe I'll take a meeting here and there. But for the most part, I'm pretty unplugged and I'm pretty focused on being present with whomever and wherever I am. Okay. So that's it. Take the me time, take the vacation time. Okay. And then the other thing I'm going to say is don't get caught up in toxic positivity, right? Because there is a such thing. Yes, we all want to be positive, but there is a level of realism that we need to face as entrepreneurs. Otherwise, we don't develop the coping skills to deal with what comes next, right? There is a rigor to entrepreneurship. There's an ebb and a flow to entrepreneurship where things will be really, really great. And then you get hit with something that you weren't expecting. It could be anything. It could be a death in the family. It could be a bill. It could be, losing a big client, okay? Or gaining a big client that you weren't prepared to manage because we can get successful too quickly too. So all of those things are things that can happen. And how do you manage that? If you don't learn to not just say, oh, you can do it. Hey, not just you can do it. What's the solution, right? Let's focus on how do we solve the problems. If you don't look at the real problems, how do you find real solutions? It's looking at the real problem. It's going through the discomfort. It's going through the pain that really, really pushes you to grow to the next level. I can remember when I took on a $200,000 project, it just fell in my lap, wasn't expecting it. And I didn't have the team or the infrastructure, but I took it on figuring I could figure it out. When I tell you that was one of the most stressful times in my life was trying to figure it out. And there were aspects of the project that I really excelled at. And then there were aspects where I just completely dropped the ball and fucked it up. And I had to take it on the chin when the customers came back to me and said, hey, we love what you turned out, but the operational experience, the structure was sucked and it was just a horrible customer experience. I had to really, really deal with that. I had to face that head on. I had to sit with them and get all the feedback. I had to sit in the corner and cry and then go back and get more feedback. And then I had to fix it. It was extremely hurtful, painful, heart-wrenching to feel like I failed. But it was from that failure that I came out of that program, not only with a much better program. The next 3 years running, I was voted best professor, for that particular program. Okay. So I went from being the worst, even though they loved what I gave them as a deliverable, from the worst experience to the best experience because I did not deny, I did not run, I did not say, well, y'all just don't want women to succeed. Y'all just don't want black people to be good. Y'all just, come on, take that feedback, take that hit. We've got to learn to take the hit, take the feedback. It's going to be hard. It's going to hurt. But if you really take it and apply it, you come out on the other side with a different level of excellence that sets you apart from everyone else. So that's it for me about how we cope with this Ladyboss stress, guys. Catch you on the flip side. Thank you so much for listening and love you.
Don't worry, there are more episodes of Brand and Hustle on the way. But if you can't wait to learn more badass business strategies, head on over to jaistone.com. That's JAISTONE.com. We'll see you next time.